Hello, family. This is Mike Plantobe at the Rocky Mount Mills in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. This is my new place here. Next door looks like we got a Michigan fan. Yeah, they were pretty loud last game. I could hear them all. Had a big party there for the Michigan Wolverines for their victory. Yeah, I thought I'd just kind of walk around my new place. A little tour here. One of the neat things they have here is just a really great recycling program. And they furnish all this recycling material, the bags, everything. And then there's just a recycling room maybe about 50 or 60 feet away from where I'm at. And just, seal the bag and just throw it into the bin, the big bin in the room. And I'm sure that there's a lot more recycled going this way versus, kind of hit or miss on most residentials. Okay, so you got a pretty long hallway, well lit, and first room here on the left here is a bedroom slash study, or I don't know, kind of an extra room. It's got a really nice bathroom over here. I've got to explain, this towel here is a beach towel that everybody on the Haynes sales force back in 1984 at Wild Dunes in South Carolina were given one of these. And I've kept it all these years, really haven't used it much, maybe a couple times at the beach. But the theme we had there was called The Right Stuff. And we had an astronaut that had been up in space a couple different times. He was our keynote speaker. It was a great sales meeting, and it just happened to be the first national sales meeting after Dad had left Haynes to go to work at Stedman. Anyway, that was back in 1984. I got a nice little bathroom set up here. Until I get my furniture here, I'm just kind of using these shelves here for some of my clothing. But yeah, very nice. I tell you what, the hot water is fantastic here. And then this room here, there's a closet, pretty good size walk-in type closet right there. And I'm still not certain what I'm going to do with this area here. I was thinking about office, but I think maybe something else, maybe more of a kind of a leather couch over here, and then like a big screen TV over there, kind of in that cutout there. But temporarily, I've got this here. This is a map of Europe, and it's something that Mom, she had a Sharpie, and then she started, where the trip, I think, originally started, the Sally European yacht trip. I think it started right about there, and you can see where Mom had just dotted everything out, and where they finished up way over here in somewhere, I think, in Greece, or no, even beyond Greece, over towards the Black Sea. But anyway, that was a great trip. back to here in Mallorca. We were there for, I don't know, it's going to be there for several days because Dad wanted to refinish the boat, kind of get it, dressed up because he was thinking about selling it once he got done with the entire trip over in the. I think there was a boat show actually over there somewhere, maybe in Greece, Athens or something like that. But anyway, that's where we stopped for about, I don't know, 5 or 6 days. And it sort of became apparent that I needed to get back to the United States. And I think so did Jessica. So Jessica and we got on a plane from Mallorca and flew over to Barcelona. That was a quick little trip over there. And then we got on the high-speed rail from Barcelona all the way up here to Paris. And that started at about 10 o'clock at night. And we traveled overnight high-speed in a incubator, 2-seat incubator. It was like a space capsule, like a 2-man space capsule. And so we got up there to Paris, and then we had a flight back. I think we flew Paris to Philadelphia, and then Philadelphia back down to Greensboro. But anyway, that trip, there's a lot of stories to be told there, and Mom and Dad shared this European excursion with a lot of their friends, a whole lot of their friends, maybe all of their friends, and all of our family. Quite a trip. Anyway, yeah, it's my temporary blow-up bed, sleeping bag. First got that sleeping bag about a little over a year ago when I started to get training on a truck with a company to drive. And so I got my CDL license. And so I was in the truck for, I don't know, about 3 months nonstop with another fella, Tony. And anyway, he had a fleet of trucks, and the plan was for me to, once I was trained, was to go ahead and get into one of his trucks and drive him as a owner of, I think he had somewhere around 10 or 11 trucks. And anyway, something kind of got in the way with that kind of plan. But that was a great experience. Anyway, one of the things I had to get was, to travel as a team, was to get a sleeping bag. And that pillow there, I also purchased that at Walmart. And so that and about, I don't know, small little suitcase or a duffel bag of things, and I was off. Here's a nice view from the room. That's that water down there is just a kind of a little tributary from the Tar River, which is just beyond the trees that you can see there. There's a that's the Tar River where they have well, it's pretty good. They've got quite a few rapids over there, and a waterfall that's just breathtaking with a park way over on the other side. It's just beautiful. Okay, let's walk back out here to the hall. And going back on down here. This right here is a washer and dryer set up, nice and compact and tight. Very nice setup, and I'm just kind of getting organized with the things that I'm going to go forward with. Not sure about that iron back there. But I've got a lot of stuff still over in my storage in Clemens. And then sometime here in the near future, I'll be bringing all that over. And next is the other bedroom. And they sort of consider this like the master bedroom. I think because the bathroom has got a walk-in shower, and my wife's kind of like got already set up here with some towels and washcloths. I bought these at the one of the bazaars over at Holy Family, maybe about, I don't know, less than a year ago, over at Holy Family, and yeah, that's working out pretty nice now for me. I love those things. Yeah, and this this room here, like I said, it's like a bedroom again. Here's some more nice scenery. And there's some fishing right down there. You see that pathway that kind of goes down there towards the water. Some pretty good fishing right there. I've seen several people out there dipping a line, and well, I haven't seen any fish that they caught yet, but maybe I'll go down there and try my luck. Okay, let's get back out here on the hall. Walking on down the hall. And this opens up into the kitchen, dining room, living room, multi-purpose room, whatever. And anyway, it's got a real nice kitchen setup. And going to come back to the kitchen here in just a little bit. Initially brought over some items that over in my storage, and this item here was over at Mom's house in the you might call it her office, and it's what she had prepared for me after we'd gone to New York up in 1980. I met Mom and Dad up in New York, and we had about a 3-day excursion around New York City, which included a couple plays with Mickey Rooney was in one of the plays. Yankee game where we saw Reggie Jackson hit out 2 home runs down the right field line. We went to Rodney Dangerfield's club. A lot of things. The Stage Deli, the New York Deli, just everywhere. And just had a really great time. Sometime I'll tell you about when we were in the one of the subways we were taking. I'm trying to think. It might have been after the Yankee game or whatever. Anyway, yeah, that's a story in itself. I'll just have to save that for later. But the classic dad took charge of a possible, not a very good situation. Okay, there's a picture of Patrick, Elizabeth, and young Tyler up at Washington, D.C. with a nice little monument in the background there. Really proud of you, Patrick, Elizabeth, Tyler, Ryan. What a great job you've done up there in the Alexandria, Washington, D.C. metro area. Very proud of you guys. This next thing was a kind of a recap picture of back in 2002, I believe it was April 26th, We had a surprise 50th anniversary party in Winston-Salem. And I think it was a surprise, as you can see. When Mom and Dad were first walking in, they were surprised. I think my dad had a little tip-off from somebody, I'm not sure. But anyway, that was a really good time. And just the next day, I think a day or two after that, your Mom and Dad flew in on, I guess you might call it Dad's private jet. He chartered a jet for many years back in the early 2000s. And so we went to Winston-Salem Airport after this event here, and I flew up to, I guess it was Dulles, in Dad's private jet. And we went to the Heritage Foundation, a couple of meetings and a couple of events that were going on up there. And here's a autographed picture of Dick Vermeil, who was the coach of the St. Louis Rams when the Rams won the Super Bowl with Kurt Warner. Picture means a lot to me. Here's needlepoint, something that Celia, my first wife, had made up for her mother-in-law, my mom. It's titled To His Mother. Very special. I hung this in Mom's dining room maybe two, 3 years ago. Stedman Ultra Sweats. What a power play by Dad. Went down eventually, bought Stedman, sold it back to Haynes, Sara Lee. Then went up to Martinsville, bought panel knitting, sold it back to Sara Lee. It was a great brand, Stedman, a great company, Stedman. You don't see much Stedman anymore. And one of the new products that Dad helped introduce up at a panel was Ultra Sweats. And I worked on that program for about a year, rolling it out as a brand new product all the way across the country. Very successful. Really gave Haynes a problem because we took a lot of their business away. But eventually Dad sold panel back to Haynes. With God, all things are possible. I believe in that. Oh, there's a picture of Ryan. This is at Thanksgiving recently in Winston-Salem. And he's wearing Nana's knit cap that she made for Ryan and every other great grandkid. In the background there is the announcement of the death of Ronald Reagan, which Mom and Dad, and I believe maybe Dan might have attended that funeral in Washington, D.C. And of course, my best Dada, Jessica. She made this many years ago. I just keeping it around. I want to frame it, and I will. I'll get it framed. Thank you, Jessica. All right, so really don't have like much furniture or anything like that. It just it's going to take a while, I guess, to get the things down here. But I've kind of temporary set up here with the cable that's coming in here. This is the Dish. I've never had the Dish network. Anyway, they've got a pretty good app. You can open up, my account I can open up on an iPad or, an iPhone or anywhere. Just open up anywhere in the country to view the same stations that are here. Look at that view right out there, huh? That's a beauty. That's a beauty. A couple things here. This is Mom's address book. And this is the book that I went to notify some people that Mom had passed away, and these were going to be the funeral arrangements. And there was one person in here that somebody that Dad worked with and that Mom and Dad knew probably ever since they moved to North Carolina back in 1973. And that was Jim and Carolyn Stokes. And Jim passed away a couple years ago. And his wife, Carolyn, Mom still had an email address for Carolyn, so I was able to email the information to Carolyn, and she was there at the funeral mass, and we spoke afterwards just for, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes, but that's all I needed. Also in the book here, all these people, were people that Mom kept in touch with every Christmas with Christmas cards. And she received Christmas cards from everybody in this book. Probably the most famous one is from Lee and Jan Gober. They had sent a Christmas card to Mom maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we opened up the Christmas card for Mom and read all the letter that Lee and Jan had written, and very, very, very touching. And just anyway, Lee and Jan Lee is the son of Tex Gober, and Tex was with Claire. It was Tex and Claire Gober, and these were very, very good friends. I would say family of Mom and Dad, beginning in 1973, when Dad went back to Winston-Salem to become Vice President of Sales for Haynes. One of the first people he went out to travel with was Tex Gober out in Texas. And what a relationship they had. Lee and Tex, Mom and Claire. They did a lot of things over the years. They traveled to a lot of different places all over the year. Just great friends. Here's the Sam Walton Made in America. It's my story. It's written by Sam, and like it says there, Made in America. Yeah, that's great. Anyway, Sam was a great guy, but he had a wife, Helen. She was great, and I'm sure Sam would have said that all along. Mom read this book. She read this book maybe about 4 months ago. I think maybe for the first time, and she really enjoyed it. Just Sam's story and also Helen and the Walton family, just growing up, and just turning the company Walmart into #1 in the world. And anyway, here's a picture of it says on the truck here, our associates who drive the trucks and work in our distribution centers do a fine job keeping the shelves of our stores stocked with merchandise for our customers. And then this one here is Sam Walton with a hula, doing the hula with a grass skirt. And that's David Glass, right next to him. And it says down here, David Glass is all too eager to help me don a grass skirt and lay as I get ready to keep a promise to do the hula on Wall Street in 1984 after we turned in an exceptional year. You sure did, Sam and David and all of the Walmart associates. Then, now, and forever. So I cut down a yardstick, made it into like a foot-long ruler. This is from a company down in Charleston called Goodwood Unfinishing Products and so forth. Had a good time down in Charleston back in 2003, 2004. I don't know if you guys recognize this binder. This was it's called Special Insurance Program, and it was from Mom and Dad. They presented this back in 1997, January 1997. Hugh Thompson was some friends of Mom and Dad. And anyway, Dad, along with Hugh and Mom, were trying to figure out a way to pass down something special to the grandchildren at the time. So this was it back in '97, and this one here happens to be for Jessica Kleintobe, and kind of lays out everything and what it was. One of the things Dad started very early on, a long time ago, was he started to buy some life insurance, whole policies and so forth. And, he just accumulated them over the years. And then when he got back to Winston-Salem, we got to meet some of the other guys, executives at the Haynes Corporation. There was a couple of them, Paul Fulton being one of them, that sort of encouraged Dad to buy up some more life insurance. And I think Dad was already connected with Northwestern Mutual. And so anyway, Dad, started back in 1973, 4, 5, 6 onward, buying up more life insurance. So he had, several life insurance policies, most of which were with Northwestern Mutual Life. And then came a time when they were deciding that, hey, let's see if we can do something for the grandkids. So, instead of, like most people, keeping your life insurance and then, whatever you got, $10 million or whatever, and then just, then once you pass away, well, all right, I guess your kids get the 10 million. Mom and Dad, they think more in the future, and they also think more about their, of course, their children, but a little bit more about their grandchildren, and even Mom over the last 10 years about her great-grandchildren. And so that's what happened. And Allison, I believe you have one of these. I believe you received one of these. Let's see. Well, Jennifer, I think you've got one of these. Yep. Some big numbers on that page. $3 million profit. Wow. Okay. Amanda, I think you've got one of these. Yeah. And Patrick, yeah, I know Patrick, because he's shared with me along the way with what he was doing. There's a couple people that received one of these that we no longer really know what they're doing. And that's Adam and Susan and Lindsay. They each received one of these deals back in 1997. That's a long time ago. I'm gonna, get set up here, with my furniture as soon as it gets down here. But until then, I'm gonna work on a few things. And one of them's right here. This is gonna be a little work on my putting game or my golf game. So anyway, I've got this. It's called the Perfect Putting Mat. Perfect Practice, and it's by Dustin Johnson, who's pretty good on the PGA Tour. He's won a few majors. Anyway, I've got this thing set up and ready to go. I've been putting a little bit already, but I need to get into a routine. There was a book sale over at the Clemens Library. Mom and I went to that was about 3 months ago. Anyway, we went over there and we bought a lot of books, and I think some of you have some of those books. They were passed down to you here in the last couple months. But that's just the way Mom was, is, and will ever shall always be. Very giving. Arnold Palmer. This is a book that I bought over there. $1. It's the Arnold Palmer, A Personal Journey. Beautiful pictorial book. Anyway, Mom flipped through that book 2 or 3 different times over here in the last couple months. Arnold was kind of special for our family, since we grew up with Arnold Palmer. And he went to Wake Forest, and Dad played golf with Arnold Palmer a couple times, had a Bermuda run. I think one of the times that he played with Arnold because he had just become president of Haynes. His dad's putter, he gave that to me. I would say back in 2010, 2012. There came a time when Dad could no longer play golf. Well, let's see what kind of golf ball we got here. Old Dominion Freelines? Okay. Wow. Wow, title is 2. Beautiful. Yeah, I remember that. I remember getting that from Amanda, one of the promotional products that they give their best customers. So I got a nice 3-pack of those golf balls, which I will keep for a long time. Thank you, Amanda. Back in the back here, over here by the window, I want to get a nice little, show you a nice little view out here. And this is kind of like out the main living room. And there's a little bit of the river you can see there. Very nice day outside, obviously, no clouds, Carolina blue. Beautiful. This is a treasure for me. This was given to me by Patrick and Jessica many years ago. Little poker set up here. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Jessica. You know, we had back in, I think it was back in, about a week ago, I guess. I think it was New Year's Eve. Carol called for a meeting to talk about the will, Mom's will, and so I met with Carol there. It was there, Dan, Lori, and we sat around the round table in the dining room there where Mom lived. And one of the first things that Carol did was she said that she had found this in a plastic baggie, Ziploc type of a bag, and it was addressed to Mike, and this is in my mom's handwriting. Please sell this. Do not give away. Thanks. Love, Mom. P.S. It's worth a lot of money. Well, that little gold pendant right there is from the Heritage Foundation. As far as the bracelet, I don't know where that came from. I'm sure it was something that Dad bought for Mom. He bought a lot of jewelry for Mom, a lot. But I'm not going to sell this. I'm not going to sell it. No way. I'm not going to give it away. I'm going to keep this forever. One of the things that Mom had left in instructions was that for this bracelet to be sold and the proceeds split 4 ways. Carol decided not to follow Mom's instructions, but she let this note here override that. Here's a practice driver, well weighted, very heavy. It's called the Power Hitter. Anyway, I'm going to set up a small little driving range with a net in here, in my place here. It'll be kind of like on down the hallway right here with a net back over here by the, I'm going to start hitting some balls. This umbrella I bought at Sam's in Rocky Mount the day before coming up to Clemens, to Holy Family Catholic Church for the funeral mass, just in case. It did rain a little bit that day, As you know, they could not do the burial that day. It had to be postponed for over the weekend on into like the day after New Year's. But this umbrella here will have a lot of meaning for me in the future. This bag here is all my training materials when I went into the truck. These are all my training materials. And one of the things this company promoted, they really didn't have any policies or procedures or really nothing much in writing except these 3 lines. Just do your best, do what's right, treat others the way you want to be treated. I liked that from day one, and I liked it all the time that I was in the truck, and I liked it ever since. I'll always like this. Yeah, that was very good. And you know, I may be back in the truck. Got a lot of goals, a lot of plans and goals this year. That's kind of one way down the list, but if the opportunity presents itself, oh yeah. And when I first moved down here, just like a couple, 3 weeks ago, I set up this little montage, or a little collection of some things that I had at my disposal. Some things that are special that will never go away. There, one of them is that dinosaur there. That's something that Ryan really likes whenever he comes to visit. The little red flip phone there is identical to the one that I got Mom a couple years ago, maybe almost 3 years ago. Yeah. But that one is identical, and I used that for a while myself. It's called Lively, and that was Mom's one-touch button in case there was ever an emergency. She would have a live person on the phone within 5 seconds, and that person was like a personal person they could like call an ambulance, call 911, give her directions to like the nearest Walmart, whatever. Anyway, that was something that I think was kind of like Mom's security blanket for the last couple of years, and she carried that along with her everywhere. When she drove to church, it was with her. When she drove to Walmart, it was with her. When she drove to anywhere, it was always with her and in the car. And then when she went into the house, it was right with her. She kept it right with her the whole time. There's a Darth Vader, that's from 1977 Haynes sales meeting in Marco Island. The theme of that meeting was "We Are the Force." Patrick and looks like little Tyler in the background there. I guess that's from a while ago. There's some little angels and so forth. There's the Eiffel Tower back there, which I bought that in Paris when we were over there. I have that for a long time. This glass, is a beauty. I bought this the first year that Helen and myself, along with all 5 children at the time, went down to Vero Beach, Florida back in December of 1990. I hadn't bought a Christmas present yet for Helen. So I went down the street there in Vero Beach, found a really nice shop, and found this glass thing right here. And it's around $700. really wasn't thinking too much about the price itself, but I was just trying to think of something that might be good for Helen. And yeah, she opened it up and just didn't seem to be satisfied with that. We did carry it around with us wherever we went, you know, but it just was like a lost article. But it has very special meaning to me today. Those elks from Elk River, the Mountain House, on display. Those are nice. It's a nice little piece there. There's a marlin. I guess that's a marlin. Yeah, wooden. Got that down in Mexico when Helen and I went down to the western coast of Mexico on a cruise. That was one of the places we stopped at, and I bought that along with, you can see there a little dolphin, wooden carved dolphin. Anyway, that was a pretty good trip down the west coast. They called it the Mexican Riviera, but that was pretty good. We had a good time on there, and you know, it was on that trip when we decided that we might want to get married, and then within like a couple, 3 months or so from that, November 17th, we were married at Holy Family Catholic Church, and the reception was a children's reception at Bermuda Run Country Club, hosted by Lee and Sally Kleintoe. They invited, all the kids invited their friends to the reception. And they had these food stations all set up just for the kids, while the adults just kind of like stood on the sidelines. Well, there's a famous teapot and 2 teacups there that all of my grandchildren used at one time or another. They always kind of like that sound of the gurgling teapot. Yeah, this is the classic view right over here on this side. This Dad's Orvis fishing pole. Not too much to it because it's for fly fishing, but I plan on using it. Another view here. This is right outside the, this will be outside the dining room. Nice, very nice. And there's that fishing spot right down there, walking down the steps. It's my tennis racket I've had for like 35 years. Used to play tennis with a good friend of mine from Haynes, Mark Richardson. We would play every Sunday morning over at Wake Forest. It's pretty heated matches, pretty good. Yeah, but we're about the same level. In a great time. That was great. So I'm thinking about taking tennis back up a little bit. Well, if it's just a little bit and it turns out to be a lot, that's okay. That's all right. That'll be okay. That'll be okay with me. Okay, let's wrap this thing up here and just you know, Dad, he had a lot of guns. They were always like in deep storage, you know, as we were growing up. They were just, you know, he kept them all the way away from everybody, kept them in deep storage. One of the nicest guns that he had, was a Browning shotgun, very expensive and still in the case. And I mean, it's almost brand new. I mean, I think he took it down to Texas one time. He used to go down to hunt with Tex Cober. And he took it down there, I think, just one time, and they went out hunting. He used it one time, and then just, kept it with his other guns, from that point forward. And again, they were always hidden, concealed. And then one time when I took a trip down to Vero Beach to see Dad, Mom was, she was, I don't know, she's feeling like that she wanted to get the guns gone. And they had all the guns down in one of the storage bin, their own private storage area down below their condo. So I remember just before I left to go back home, Mom and I went down, and she wanted me to take all the guns. And so I took them all. While we were in there, that little storage area, and we were collecting the guns, there was one small little kind of a pellet type gun. I think it was the one that Dad used to use way back in 1974 and 75, when he would go out the back window at the house over there at Fair Oaks Court. He'd go out the back window and open up the window and look for squirrels that might be in his tomatoes. And whenever he saw the squirrels trying to get into the tomatoes, fired away with that little pellet gun. And anyway, still got it. I mean, it was pretty cool, yeah. Anyway, I've got all the guns. And this one here, this is one that Dad's had, I think, before he even got married. So that would have been maybe back in the late 40s. And he just carried it around with him. It's a beautiful rifle. But as you can see, it needs to be restored. So that's what I'm gonna do. Now that I've got a little bit more time. And that's one of my goals this year. So I've got this refinishing pack kit that I'm going to work on. The blue. It's a blue and rust remover, and I'll get that done. And then for the stock, I've got the right material for refinishing that. And then I think I'm going to have have all the guns placed into a safe. I'm not going to put anything out on display, but I'm going to put everything into a gun safe along with my other valuables. That's a little carved duck. That's something that Grandpa made many years ago. I've got several carvings of Grandpa's. That one's a beauty. This is a mug that was given to me by my girlfriend, wife-to-be, in college. I was at San Diego State, and she wrote, or she had this engraved, and you probably can't see it, but it says, I love you, 1976. Her name was Jan Kwan, and Mom and Dad got to meet Jan along with the Fullers, the Spitalniks, the Walshes, the Wallaces, etc., and so on. When I graduated from San Diego State, after the graduation, we went up to Mike and Nancy Fuller's second home in Oceanside, California. And that's where we had the so-called graduation party. And Mom and Dad presented me with my graduation gift. I really didn't need anything or want anything, but they gave me a full set of Titleist, Acushnet, woods, and irons, and a golf bag that had my name on it. I remember Jan, she was there and kind of meeting all these people there for the first time. Jan just started crying. She just, but that's the type person she was. She was just so giving. Just what a smile. Along that way there back then, she gave me this ring. And this was handmade. But when I first received it from Jan, it was silver. It was all solid silver. And has my initials, MLK. And so I always kept it, but I really didn't do much with it until about 6 months ago. Went over to the jewelry store over there in Clemens. I said, hey, is there any way you could gold plate this? I said, yeah, I think we can. We'll give it a try. So it took, about a week or two. And then, I came back and it's holding up pretty good. I've been wearing it, kind of off and on. It's a little bit loose. But it's working out okay. A place just like within maybe a couple 100 feet from where I am located is a brand new brewery, but they also serve some food called La Rema Beverage Company, and it's just just right down the way here from me. And this is their menu. Kind of starting off, pretty basic. Their only two main courses are a mushroom and chickpea smash burger, and then they also have a brisket sandwich, along with some pretty cool appetizers and soups and salads and so forth. Anyway, that's going to be one of my go-to places. I think I might be smoking that a little bit later this afternoon, taking a little walk outside into nature, and have a nice cigar. This is my setup over here for my. It's a kind of a flexible desk top, so it's right now it's at 42 inches, like for standing up. I got this 4 or 5 months ago. Had it set up at Mom's in the dining room there, just as a little preview for Mom as to what direction I was going to be going into. Okay, then now let's just, I said I was going to wrap up a little earlier, but this is, I just want to sort of finish up here with something that was prepared by Spillman Thomas Battle, and it's a limited power of attorney. To designate me, Mike Kleintobe, an agent with special powers to be able to, the grant was of limited authority, specifically to, and you can see this is where Mom initialed. Number one, collection of remaining unpaid loan balance due from Helen Emery Kleintove in the amount of $162,000 and deposit of funds collected into an account held in the same name of grantor. Number two, real property specifically associated with the loan made to Helen Emery Kleintove. And number three, claims, litigation, especially related to the collection of funds owed by Helen Emery Kleintove. Its effective date, it's already effective. It was effective on 12/6/23. Signed by Sally Kleintove, dated 12/6/2023. Notarized document prepared by Spillman, Thomas, and Battle. Of course, here's a picture of Mom at the Thanksgiving dinner that was like underway, and she looks very optimistic there. She really, I think she had a great time with all the great grandkids. And then there's like the day after the Thanksgiving dinner, it was like everybody went over to Mom's house for, I don't know, a couple hours of just like the good old days, marching around, playing some pretty good music, everybody upbeat, none more than Mom that day. So I commemorated that with this little framed deal. Sally A. Kleintove, 2023 Family Thanksgiving Dinner in the Kleintove Terrace 3 Private Family Dining Room, Embassy Suites by Hilton, Winston-Salem, November 23rd, 2023. This is a picture of Sandra J. Harrison. She's the U.S. Attorney for the Middle District of North Carolina. And after Mom had sent a letter to Helen, Susan, Adam, then that was to get her $162,000. Then their law firm, it was called Bell, Davis and Pitt. One of the attorneys decided that you're not going to get away with it, and sent a threatening letter to Mom, and just filled with threats left and right. I thought about it. Actually, I recorded a YouTube video, and it's still out there. It was basically directed back to this Brad Friesen with Bell, Davis, and Pitt to say I'd taken like several weeks here to try to figure out exactly what you're trying to say here, and why would you be threatening my mother, and various other questions, and yeah, pretty much asked for an apology. And let's see if we can, come up to something as far as figuring out a way to, settle this thing and just move forward. No reply from Brad, and I've sent probably 7 or 8 inquiries to Bell Davis and Pitt, to Adam Emery, to Susan Emery, to Lindsay Emery, to Nancy Hurdle, to so on, etc. and so on. No reply, no, nothing. So after a while, I decided to go over to the Middle District of North Carolina, over on Edgeworth Street in Greensboro, to convey my concern about this threatening letter, because it does violate some U.S. sections that are clear about mailing threatening communication. Gave it to them. They have it. They've had it for maybe 6 months. I also followed it up with a letter. This is the beginning of the letter to Sandra J. Hairston, along with everything else that had been committed by Bell Davis and Pitt, and by their so-called client, Helen Kleintobe. Under their purview. Finally, this is a letter that I sent out to whom it may concern on February 5, 2023. I finished it up by saying in the last paragraph, I love the USA and look forward to next year, 2024, when the Republicans increase their majority in the House, take back the Senate by a 59-41 majority, and the presidency. Cheers. I hope you and everybody has a very great 2024. This is the greatest country in the world, has been, ever shall be, always will be. USA.